metal bleachers or individual NFL-style seats? Which do you prefer? You may think that this is a question that doesn't have a place on the show, but there's such an underlying theme to this question that I can almost guarantee every one of you have a feel on. You may not have a feel on metal versus chairback. In fact, most of you would prefer the chairback just because it's comfortable. But there is an underlying age-old debate in college athletics, especially major college football, that this question reminded me of. For those of you who are fans at Texas or at Ohio State or Michigan or Alabama or Georgia, the bigger programs, Penn State, like the massive stadiums, there is a debate that's always had internally. It's never really national in nature, but it's always an internal debate. It's the younger, more raucous crowd that looks at the older sweater vest crowd, the blue hairs as they would call them in certain places, and they say, if we could just get them out of the stadium and replace them with more of us, we'd have the best game day atmosphere in the country. Because we make more noise. We're on our feet. They're the ones telling us to sit down when it's third and short. Well, that's one way to look at it. You know what they would tell you? They would tell you, my outfit's worth more than you are, and secondly, this place doesn't exist without me. I've written a check that makes what you're enjoying here possible. And it kind of goes back to the question we were talking about a little while ago, culture and booster, and how important is a major donor class to a university? Well, it's a lifeline. It's imperative. And when we go back to this question, and we talk about the old school metal bleacher look in a stadium versus the newer school chairback look, we are drifting very radically away from stadiums being full metal bleachers. In fact, I don't know many of them at all on home campuses that are all metal bleachers. Now, it used to be they're all metal, but you can pay a little bit extra with your season tickets per year, and they install the chairback for you. Even that is not a good enough amenity moving forward based on what they're charging you for those season tickets. We're still working on a segment about this, by the way, so I've not forgotten about what I asked you guys to submit. But as much as I say that, and as much as the in-stadium, in-person experience is having to be, how would I say this? What is the word, like luxurified? It's got to be more luxurious. That's what it has to be. So added luxury is something that's a necessity for the in-stadium game day experience. Now, but as that's happening, there is a perfect world still out there to me. Because my personal preference is I want metal chairbacks, or I want metal bleachers all day. I don't want the chairbacks at all. Not because I don't really care about your posture, not because I'm not cognizant of how tough it can be to have scoliosis or curvature of the spine, but because I know if I have metal bleachers and only metal bleachers, there's a certain kind of person that's willing to suck it up and stick it out in that kind of environment. And there's a kind of person that stays home and says, nah, I'll just go next week. The Cotton Bowl in Dallas taught me a valuable lesson this past year when I was there for the Red River Shootout, not to be referred to as any other name. This place is all metal bleacher. It's as old school gets. It's obviously neutral site for OU in Texas, 50-50 split right there at the 50-yard line. And my biggest takeaway in what was a classic game when I came back, those of you who watched the show the following Sunday remember, I told you, guys, I have seen the light. There's not a luxury suite to be found in this place. There's not a chairback to be found. And as a result, everyone there is a die-hard, rabid, full-throated, all-in, foaming at the mouth fan who is making as much noise as they possibly can, because the kind of person willing to sit on a metal bleacher in 90-plus degree heat for 4 quarters is the kind of person who can undo the top button and really let loose. And they did, en masse, to the tune of over 90,000 plus at the Cotton Bowl. That's how it is every year. I just was fortunate enough to finally experience it. But that's not Austin. That's not Norman. They are probably on those campuses upgrading year over year the game day experience. Don't mess with the Cotton Bowl. One of the big debates that happens out in Big 12 country is whether they should move the Red River Shootout from the Cotton Bowl over to Arlington, Jerry World, which would be a sin, a crime against college football to me. The Cotton Bowl, the Cotton Bowl is as good as it gets for a regular season neutral site environment, and those metal seats are a big reason why. Because the kind of person that's willing to sit on that metal bleacher in that blazing sun for 4 quarters and not care and be drenched in sweat and just pour that emotion out anyway, that's a different kind of clientele than what you know good and well you're looking to attract if you move that thing across town into Jerry World. You already got the Big 12 championship game over there. You already got college football playoff games coming through there. You got national championships coming through there. Leave the Red River Shootout alone, please. You've got your hands all over everything else in the sport messing it up. Please just leave the Cotton Bowl and the Red River Shootout alone. That is my passion plea, and I know I got a lot of backup on that from actual fans who actually go to games out in Big 12 country.